Yeah, we are now live.
Hi, everyone.
Hey,
Hi,
hi.
Lucy.
Hey,
Hi.
Morgan.
Welcome. We're here today to talk a little bit about Mercury in retrograde and how it is in the sign of Cancer. And well, actually, right now we have 6 planets in retrograde, which is
Mhm.
a lot, a lot of planets. So, yeah, how is everybody doing? How are you feeling? Do you notice anything different? We're only going to have these 6 planets in retrograde for a few days, so 2 or 3 days. So that's kind of nice if it's feeling like a really intense time for you. Yeah, how are you feeling, Lucy? How we just had the new moon solar eclipse as well, and then summer solstice. So how are you feeling with
Yeah.
everything?
Hi. Good question. So it's been an intense time. There's no doubt about that. And I feel like I'm just really coming up for air now from all of the solstice energy
Mm.
and the solar eclipse energy. But feeling positive and feeling more energized at the moment. And something that's interesting that I thought that we were chatting before we went live that I thought would be fun to share with everyone is actually we realized that with all of the 6 planets in retrograde at the moment, that both Morgan and I actually have 6 planets in retrograde in our respective natal astrology charts, which is actually very unusual.
Yeah.
I've never met another person who has the same number of retrogrades as I do. So yay! I'm not alone. Yeah, so actually the energy at the moment feels really quite normal.
Yeah.
How are you doing? How are you feeling?
Yes, I agree with you. It does, it feels better today. It definitely feels less intense. And I don't know how that makes sense, but I guess it's because we were born during that time
Yeah.
of where all those planets are in retrograde. So yeah,
Mm.
it's quite interesting. So it's not just to know that if you have planets in retrograde in your chart, it's in your natal chart, it's not doom and gloom,
No, no.
basically. Yeah. So yeah, so today we're going to talk about Mercury retrograde in Cancer. So it's going to be retrograde for the next 3 weeks, and this is a really good time. All retrogrades are a good time, especially Mercury in retrograde is a good time for inner reflection and introspection. So the sign of Cancer is all about home and family, roots. It's also ancestry and healing.
Mm.
Healing. Um, you know, Cancer, it's a water sign, but it's also a cardinal sign, and cardinal signs initiate new seasons.
Mm.
So we have, for example, here in the northern hemisphere, we have the start of the summer and the summer solstice we just had, and then in the southern hemisphere, you have the start of the winter season. So the archetype of Cancer is all about creating a safe container and a safe space for introspection and nourishment. And this weekend, we're going to be gathering to create a safe space to do exactly that.
Mm.
Lucy, do you want to share
Beautiful.
more about
Yes,
that?
very, very excited about what we're creating for you this weekend. So on Saturday, we're going to be gathering together and we're going to be hosting a group meditation and contemplation session. And we're going to, so there's 2 things we really want to share with you today. We want to talk about the practice of cord clearing and why that's important, particularly at this time that we're living through, that we're navigating. And we also want to talk about the rising divine feminine leadership and how you can embody that in your daily life. Um, so the first thing to talk about is why the practice of cord clearing. Why is that so important at the moment? So with the time that we're in, as Morgan was saying, with all these planets in retrograde, we've just been through a very powerful solstice and an equally as powerful solar eclipse. Um, Centering and grounding practices are more important now than ever, and practices that help us to cultivate greater awareness and to feel more present in our lives. And a cord clearing practice does exactly that. So, a cord clearing practice will help you to get better sleep. It will help you to release stress, help you to release feelings of overwhelm. And it is also one of the most powerful ways to energetically begin healing relationships. So, whether that's present relationships, past relationships, relationships with your family, with loved ones, with friends, a cord clearing practice is one of the most gentle and heart opening ways to do that. And with all of that Cancerian energy around, with the themes that Morgan was talking about of healing family and your ancestral roots, it's a beautiful practice that we are very excited to share with you.
Mm-hmm.
So cord clearing is also particularly good for creating space. So I don't know if any of you can relate to, not being able to fall asleep because you feel like you're carrying all this heaviness with you, for example. We pick up a lot of energy from other people and from other situations, other stories from people all the time. Um, One of the best ways to create space, both energetically and psychically and emotionally, is to have a cord clearing practice that really works for you and works with your energy. So it's about releasing the past, not just for you, but also for your ancestry. It's about a practice that can help us all actually collectively to dismantle old systems and paradigms that we have been carrying with us for lifetimes. So that's in a nutshell why the practice is so important. And we're really looking forward to sharing that with you. Morgan, do you want to tell us a bit more about the divine feminine leadership? Oh,
Yes,
there you are.
absolutely. Sorry.
Okay, you were muted for a second.
Yeah. Oh, good old Mercury in retrograde.
Yeah.
So yes, yeah. So whether you're male or female, or you identify as male or female, man, woman, divine feminine is being activated in all of us, regardless of gender. Um, so with divine feminine leadership, it's a leadership that comes from the heart, not the mind. So Cancer, the sign of Cancer is the matriarch,
Mm-hmm.
and here we have that feminine energy, and it being a cardinal sign, it's about taking action, and so that you have that feminine leadership. That to me equals feminine leadership. So an interesting story for this weekend. I am planting a garden, or I've planted garden, and I'm growing, tomatoes and cucumbers and all these yummy foods. And I'm having a little bit of a challenge with squirrels and chipmunks right now that I seem to have fun trying to dig up the plants or eating some things here and there. And I really, so I was really, it was really aggravating me at one point, because I felt like I couldn't stop them. And I had this moment where I realized I wanted to work with the plants and the animals and the land, and work with Mother Earth in a way that everybody wins and we're all supported. And it was not like me versus them, or them versus me. That it was not a duality. It's like we're all together in this, and we're all working together. And what I was reminded of is in permaculture. So for those of you that are unfamiliar with permaculture, permaculture is basically permanent agriculture. And this definition that I have is it's a strategic, systematic approach to changing our homes and gardens and lives so that they regenerate rather than annihilate the earth. So it's really working in harmony, working with nature and the natural cycles of nature and the natural balance that is found in nature and on earth. So there's a constant a cycle of decay and rebirth, and it's all about living in harmony. And really, that is the divine feminine way. And so in permaculture, they say the co-creator of permaculture, Bill Mollison, says, you don't have a slug problem, you have a duck deficiency. So in other words, I don't have a squirrel or chipmunk problem. I have so in this case, I did some research, and it's about attracting more of the natural predators. So that would be hawks and owls. And yeah, so there's like a natural balance to that. So obviously we don't have enough hawks in the area or owls that will will control the squirrel population, basically. So anyways, there is that the divine, the Mother Earth, that cycle and that harmony. And so to work with nature, and that doesn't involve like that's where everything works in harmony. So as we're doing that, I also realized that this new paradigm is still being birthed. So within this new paradigm, there is new ways of leadership that are being formed, and that leadership can take many forms. So, yeah.
Incredibly powerful. And thank you so much for sharing that. And you know what? I absolutely love hearing you speak about permaculture and the way that you are taking these divine feminine leadership principles and making them practical in your daily life. And you have quite a strong Cancer archetype in your chart, don't you?
Yes. Cancer
Yeah,
rising. Yeah.
that's right. So there you go. I mean, you're
Yeah.
hearing from the archetype herself. This I love the principles of it. It's very powerful. And what I'm hearing and what I love is that this is an inclusive approach that is about, as you were saying, is about harmony and balance. So it feels really beautiful and really warming. Okay, so what we wanted to do is we wanted to pose a question to you, whether you're watching live or on catch up. This is a contemplation question for you to sit with and to digest over the next coming couple of weeks as we're in this retrograde cycle. And this will also give you a taste of the kind of questions that we're going to be contemplating together in circle this weekend. So the question is, how will you step up as a leader in this new paradigm? How will you step up as a leader in this new paradigm? So I invite you to journal on this. I invite you to contemplate it, and if you feel comfortable to do so, please share your responses here in the Facebook group. We would love to hear from you. And then obviously, if you'd like to dive deeper into this topic and you would like to experience more of this work with us and with a beautiful group of like-minded souls, then please join us. Join us for the meditation and contemplation circle, where we will be diving into the cord clearing practice, healing karmic ties, family relationships, ancestral timelines, and we will be looking at how we can bring the divine feminine leadership into our daily lives. So, just so that everybody is aware, this session is by donation. We would love to see you there. So please do join us if you feel called to.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We look forward to meeting with you and sharing with you in session on Saturday if you can make it. Yeah. And if not, then, join us here. Stay tuned. We'll have more videos and more information and fun stuff for you coming up. So
Awesome.
yeah,
Cool.
thank you. Thanks,
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. See you soon. Bye.